I think that's the biggest thing with these AI workloads is it's not just how you estimate the architecture of the application and how long it runs for, which is what we've always done.
Right.
But end user behavior of using these systems, model behavior of how efficient they are, whether they go off the rails a little bit, can all impact this consumption and therefore your costs.
So the big thing is making sure you're aware that this signal is available, pay attention to it, because in the past, like you mentioned, we would normally look at consumption, but now we also have to account for strange consumption patterns, potentially in tokens.
Welcome to Update and Restart, the show that checks your career for updates, downloads, and installs them. I'm your host, Sonia Cuff.
And I'm Rick Claus, and we're going to be talking about something about tokens, I do believe, today. Is that about right?
Yeah, look, it's an unfamiliar concept, but it is part of what makes up the cost of an AI application.
Oh, wait. You're saying AI stuff costs things?
Yeah, it really does.
Okay. So how do these tokens work into a cost factor, and what I got to be concerned about as an infrastructure person? That's what we're covering today.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I could try and explain it to you, but why don't we just cut to the demo?
Okay.
So let's say I have a hiking shop, sells outdoor equipment, and I want to put an AI-enabled chatbot on my website to help people make purchasing decisions and they'll buy more. So I've come up with some text with some common things that people might ask if they are going to have a conversation with this chatbot to help recommend things. And you can see along the top I've got different GPT model. So I'm using the latest and greatest, and it will actually show me that this equates to 87 tokens or 435 characters. Now, if you want to get into the science, a token is about 4 English characters of text, but it doesn't break it up per 4 characters, and so it recognizes similar patterns in the text and includes that as a token. So this is kind of how it takes the input and translates it into this currency of tokens. But another interesting thing is this will change depending on not only the model that you're using, but how up-to-date the model is. So if we have a look at one of the older models, in GPT-3 it was 95 tokens.
Oh, okay.
So as the models have actually improved, they've got more efficient as well. So now the same piece of text is a less amount of tokens. So that kind of information, I could now go, okay, if that's the average conversation somebody might have with my website, I know that I'm getting 2,000 people to my website in a month. Of the 2,000 people, maybe 10% of them would use a chatbot. I can actually start to do some estimating maths to estimate what my input token usage might be.
Right, and this same approach obviously works as well for other things, that not necessarily as a chatbot. It'd also be working for my GitHub Copilot. If I'm going to go off and doing vibe coding and have it go off and do different things, there are definitely token allocations that you have on a monthly basis or weekly basis or whatever for your workflows, where some might take more tokens, some might take less tokens. So tokens are the new currency that we're working with here.
They are. The only caveat on that is that some AI services aren't charged per token, they are charged per license. Or we've even got someone like Azure AI Search, which is a SKU-based model that we're more familiar with VMs, where there are certain tiers and certain things. So I guess the nugget of gold for that is make sure that you understand how your particular AI service is structured and priced.
Got it.
So that's fine for estimating. If we've got an existing workload and we want to see where the cost is coming from, we can use tools that might be familiar to people who have done any cloud cost management, but we can look at it from an AI workload example and remember that token angle. So let's take a look.
I'm in the cost management and billing section of the Microsoft Azure portal, which you might be familiar with if you've managed other costs of your Azure cloud subscriptions. So I'm going to go into the accumulated costs graph and then group these results by service name. Now I can see an item for Foundry models. And if I dig into that one, I can then group these Foundry model costs by meter. And the billing meter now shows up all of the different models and whether they're input or output, So I can see all of the different models that are being used on my subscription and how they are contributing to cost. Now, if I want to get a slightly different view of that, I can change from area into a table. And now I can see that the top cost seems to be an imaging model, an output imaging model. So somebody's been generating images using the GPT model here, and I can go through and take a look at the different costs for all the different models across the month. I found which resource and which Microsoft Foundry project are using this AI model deployment. And so now I can go into Microsoft Foundry itself and bring up the details for this particular model, and then get more detailed information about the token. So what is happening behind the scenes of that cost? Where are the requests coming from? And get some sort of detailed analytics of the usage of these tokens.
So you can see from that demo that if you're getting into cost analysis of why did this AI application cost me so much, it's kind of a combination here where you can use cost management to get the details about the dollar figures. And when you see those spikes, you can then say to your developers or your application owners, within this date range, we had a cost spike. They can go into Microsoft Foundry and take a look at the usage metrics to find out when that spike, to see were they testing something, is it something that a customer has been trying to do that they shouldn't be doing with the model, or is it something that's gone wrong with the model behavior? And I think that's the biggest thing with these AI workloads, is it's not just how you estimate the architecture of the application and how long it runs for, which is what we've always done.
Right.
But end user behavior of using these systems, model behavior of how efficient they are, whether they go off the rails a little bit, can all impact this consumption and therefore your costs.
So the big thing is making sure you're aware that this signal is available, pay attention to it, because in the past, like you mentioned, we would normally look at consumption, but now we also have to account for strange consumption patterns, potentially in tokens. Yeah. Like you said, there might be a runaway aspect. Someone might have broken into your chat environment and started to use your chat environment for things that it's not intended for and cause all these different irregularities.
Absolutely.
Nice. Now, what do you think from a details perspective, where people can go and learn more specifically about this cost side of things?
Look, it's a really big topic, but I think when I have a look at what is top of mind for most people right now, we've spoken in previous episodes about agentic AI.
Right.
And so there's probably a lot of people in enterprise companies especially that are looking at building agents and AI capabilities using agents. So we've got a great learning path on Microsoft Learn called Maximize the Cost Efficiency of AI Agents on Azure. And this is going to help talk to you about the different design considerations that you need to make that are going to have an impact on how cost efficient that agent is or not.
Excellent. Awesome resource. What do you think about what we've been saying so far? Do you have any ideas about possible additional topics that we should be covering? Other areas you'd like some more information on? Give us some feedback. Drop us an email. Update and restart at Microsoft.com, and you never know. Something that you suggest is a particular funny piece of social media that you've seen recently, it can end up in a future show. You never know. Now, this time we have an interesting one that was brought up, which was talking about a particular troubleshooting scenario. We all have these war stories of what different people have come across supporting end users and supporting enterprise applications and stuff like that. What's the one that you found this week?
I love this one this week. I think some people have a fear of contacting the help desk,
Really?
and they would rather put up with the problem than come and get it fixed. Or maybe they think that it's a problem that can't be fixed. I don't know. Like, we try to be friendly and say, give us a call. But in this particular scenario, somebody was convinced that Excel did not work on their computer because none of the formulas would autocomplete. And so for 6 months, this poor woman had been getting out a calculator and manually calculating every formula to update the value in the spreadsheet because she was convinced that formulas weren't working.
Completely counterintuitive for what it's supposed to do.
I know, right?
Yeah.
finally took a call to the help desk for somebody to come along and realize that it was a couple of settings in Excel about displaying the formulas so you could see the formula name.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just nobody knows how it was turned on. It's probably just a keyboard shortcut. I've done it before when I've been typing away and I've just triggered something on my keyboard because I've hit a random key combination. That's all it was, and they just undid the setting and everything worked again. And so that's really one of those cases where a phone call and a quick investigation could have saved 6 months of manual data entry.
Yeah, I'm still kind of struck by the whole statement of people don't like contacting help desk for help. That never happens, ever. We're very friendly people, right?
Absolutely.
Hey, thanks a lot for joining us for this particular episode. Hope you liked it. Tune in next week and see what got cooked up.